Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a story that's going to grab you right from the start, and trust me, you won't want to click away. Imagine this. After 5 years with the man I thought I'd marry, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You are not worthy of being my wife." Then he walked out, left me standing there with my whole world flipped upside down. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because in that moment I knew he had no idea what I was capable of. Fast forward a bit, and now his so-called perfect new girlfriend has married someone else, and he's blowing up my phone begging me to take him back. Only problem? Those messages are being read by my new husband. Yeah, you heard that right. This is the kind of twist that makes you lean in and wonder, how did we get here? Well, stick around because I'm about to take you through every single step of this wild ride. So who am I? My name's Ava, and this all kicked off when I was 29, just a regular woman who thought she'd found her forever guy. 5 years is a long time, right? Long enough to build a life, to dream about a future, to plan a wedding. But it's also long enough for someone to show you who they really are when the mask finally slips. That's what happened with Noah, my fiancé at the time. 1 minute we're picking out invitations, and the next he's telling me I'm not good enough. It's the kind of gut punch that could break anyone. But here's the thing, it didn't break me. It lit a fire. And what came after? Oh, it's so much better than anything I could have scripted back then. This story's got it all. Love that feels like a dream until it turns into a nightmare. Heartbreak that hits so hard, you're not sure you'll get up. A comeback that proves sometimes the universe has your back in ways you never expect. And a little taste of karma that's so sweet, you'll be cheering by the end. I mean, picture this guy who thought he could do better crashing and burning while I'm building something real with someone who actually sees me. It's not just about me getting the last laugh, though. It's about what happens when you refuse to let someone else define your worth. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone you loved, someone you trusted, look at you and say you're not enough? Maybe it was a partner, a friend, even family. That moment when their words cut deep and you're left wondering if they're right. If that's you, I get it. I've been there. And that's why I'm telling you Ava's story today. Because it's not just mine. It's for anyone who's ever been knocked down and had to figure out how to stand back up. Spoiler alert. You can. And sometimes you end up standing taller than you ever thought possible. Here's what we're diving into. We'll start with the good stuff. Those early years with Noah when everything felt golden. Then we'll hit the rough patch where it all started to unravel until that one night when he dropped the bomb that changed everything. From there, it's all about how I picked up the pieces, found my footing, and met Liam, the man who showed me what real love looks like. Oh, and don't worry. We'll get to Noah's big comeback attempt, complete with some housewarming drama you won't believe. By the end, you'll see how I went from not worthy in his eyes to living a life that's more than I ever dreamed. So grab a snack, settle in, because this is a full story over 40 minutes of twists, turns, and a whole lot of heart. If you've ever wondered how to turn a breakup into a breakthrough, this one's for you. And hey, before we jump in, hit that like button if you're ready for some serious storytelling. Subscribe if you're new here, because we've got more real life tales coming your way. Let's get started with the part where it all began. Those first 5 years that set the stage for everything that came next. All right, let's take it back to where it all started, those first 5 years with Noah that felt like something straight out of a rom-com, at least for a while. I'm Ava, and when I met Noah, I was 24, just figuring out life, working a decent job, nothing fancy but steady. He came into the picture at a friend's barbecue. I spilled a drink on him totally by accident, and he just laughed it off. said I owed him one. That was Noah back then. Charming, easygoing, the kind of guy who could make you feel like the only person in the room. We hit it off right away, swapped numbers, and by the next weekend we were on our first date at this little diner downtown. I still remember how we sat there for hours talking over greasy fries and milkshakes about everything from our favorite bands to the dumbest things we did as kids. It was effortless, like we'd known each other forever. Fast forward 2 years and we decided to move in together. I was 26 by then, and Noah was 27. My parents weren't exactly jumping for joy about it. Their old school thought we should wait until marriage, but I told them it's the 21st century, people do this all the time. Plus, we were in love and ready to build something real. We found this tiny apartment, nothing luxurious. The rent was brutal, but we made it work. Boxes everywhere that first week, laughing as we unpacked, arguing over where the couch should go. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. We'd cook dinner together most nights, nothing gourmet, just pasta or whatever was on sale. After we'd crash on the couch, binge watching shows until way too late. Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, you name it, we watched it. Weekends were for exploring local spots. There was this taco place we loved, hole-in-the-wall vibes, but the best salsa I've ever had. We'd walk around town, try new cafes, just soak in being us. Noah had this way of making every day feel special back then. I'd wake up some mornings and find coffee waiting on the nightstand still hot because he knew I'm useless without it. During the day, he'd send me TikToks at work, little clips that reminded him of me, or something we'd laughed about. One time he sent me this video of a dog failing at jumping on a couch, and I had to hide in the break room because I couldn't stop giggling. We'd talk for hours about the silliest stuff, like whether aliens exist or where we'd travel if money wasn't a thing. Italy was my pick. He wanted Japan. It was that normal couple stuff, but it felt huge to me. I'd lie in bed at night thinking this is it. I found my person, the one I'm going to grow old with. Then came the proposal, and oh man, that was a moment. It was our 4th anniversary, 4 years into this journey. Noah took me back to the lake where we had that first date. It's this quiet spot, trees all around water, so still you could see the sky reflected in it. We were just sitting there on a blanket watching the sunset when he pulled out a ring. Nothing flashy, just a simple band with a tiny stone, but it was perfect. He didn't do some big speech, just said, "Ava, I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" I was a mess, crying, laughing, saying yes all at once. He slipped the ring on my finger, and we sat there, wrapped up in each other as the stars came out. That night, I posted the photo on Instagram, the one, hand up, ring, catchy in the light. Captioned it "Forever Starts Now." Called my mom right after, and she was sobbing on the phone, so happy for us. I couldn't sleep for days after that, too excited planning the wedding in my head. The next few months were a whirlwind. I had binders stuffed with ideas, dress sketches, venue lists, everything. Summer was the goal, about a year away, so we had time to save up, make it ours. Noah was all in, at first helping pick colors, talking about who we'd invite. We'd sit on the couch, flipping through magazines, dreaming about this big day. I'd show him Pinterest boards totally out of control with flower arrangements and cake designs. He'd tease me about it, but he'd smile that smile that made me feel like we were unstoppable. Looking back, those were the golden years, the ones I thought would last forever. 5 years together, 2 of them living side by side, building this life step by step. It felt solid, like nothing could shake us. But here's the thing about love, especially when it's young and you're caught up in it. You don't always see the cracks forming. I didn't notice how Noah's little comments started creeping in, not at first. How he'd look at me sometimes like he was sizing me up. Back then I brushed it off, told myself it was nothing. 5 years is a long time to build something beautiful, but it's also enough time for things to shift in ways you don't expect. That's where we're headed next, the part where the fairy tale started to fray and I had no idea what was coming. Those early years, they were real, they were good, but they set the stage for a fall I never saw until it hit me square in the face. So here we are, the part where things start to unravel. I'm Ava, and up until this point, my 5 years with Noah felt like a dream worth holding on to. We'd built something real, or so I thought. Living together for 3 of those years, planning a wedding after his proposal at the 4-year mark. But about 6 months after he popped the question, something shifted. It was subtle at first, so small I barely noticed. Looking back, I should have seen it coming, but love has this way of blinding you to the red flags, waving right in your face. Let's dive into how it all fell apart, because this is where the story takes a turn. You won't forget. It started with little comments, nothing big, just offhand stuff about how I looked. We'd be getting ready to go out, and Noah would say something like that dress would look better if you toned up a bit, or maybe try a different hairstyle, something more sophisticated. At first I laughed it off, figured he was joking or just being picky. I mean, we'd been together over 4 years. He'd seen me in sweatpants and no makeup plenty of times, but those remarks kept coming more often, sharper each time. I'd catch him glancing at me with this look, not love, not even annoyance, just judgment. I started second guessing myself in the mirror, wondering if he was right. Maybe I did need to change. Maybe I wasn't keeping up with what he wanted me to be. Then it spread beyond my appearance. We'd be out with his friends and I'd say something casual, maybe about a show we watched or a news story I'd read. Noah would jump in, correct me in front of everyone like I'd gotten it all wrong. He'd laugh it off, but it stung. Made me feel small, like I didn't know anything he thought was worth knowing. He started questioning my job too. I worked in admin, nothing flashy, but it paid the bills, kept us afloat. He'd say things like, "You should be more ambitious. Ava, don't you want to do something bigger?" It wasn't encouragement. It was criticism. Like what I did wasn't enough for him anymore. He even took shots at my family, called them too simple, said I needed to elevate myself if I was going to fit into his world. His world, like I wasn't already a part of it after 5 years. I wish I could tell you. I pushed back right away, stood up for myself, and called him out. But I didn't. I started believing him. Thought maybe he saw something I didn't. Maybe I really wasn't good enough. So I tried to fix it. Changed my hair, cut it shorter, dyed it a shade he once said he liked. Bought new clothes, tighter, fancier stuff I wouldn't have picked before. Worked longer hours, took online courses at night because he said I needed to be more cultured, whatever that meant. Looking back, it's hard to admit how much I bent over backwards to please him. I loved him so much, I didn't see how toxic it was getting. You know how it is when you're in deep, you're drowning, but you don't even realize there's no air left. The breaking point came 3 months before our wedding, about 4 years and 9 months into our relationship. We were sitting in our apartment going over final wedding details. I was excited, talking about the flowers, the guest list things I'd been planning for a year. Noah was quiet at first, just nodding along. Then, out of nowhere, he said something about my dress, which he hadn't even seen because I'm old school like that. said his mom was worried I'd pick something expected, not classy enough. I asked what he meant because that didn't make sense to me. And that's when he let loose. It wasn't just a comment. It was a full-on rant. Said he'd been settling this whole time, that he was starting to see I wasn't wife material for someone like him. His family had concerns about me representing him in their social circles, whatever that was supposed to mean. Then came the words I'll never forget. He looked right at me, eyes cold, and said, "You're not worthy of being my wife, Ava. I think I can find someone better." I just sat there completely stunned. 5 years together, 3 of them sharing this tiny apartment, and that's what he thought, that I wasn't worthy. Who says that to someone they're supposed to love? My mind was spinning, trying to process it. All those months of comments, the jabs, the looks, they'd been building to this. I didn't cry, though, didn't scream or beg him to take it back. Something inside me snapped, but not in a bad way. I laughed. It wasn't planned, it just came out this weird bubble of sound from deep in my chest. The absurdity of it hit me all at once. This guy I'd spent years trying to make happy was telling me I wasn't enough when really he wasn't enough for me. Noah didn't expect that. His face twisted from smug to confused, then angry. "What's so funny?" he demanded. I shook my head, still half laughing, and said, "You're right, we shouldn't get married. But not because I'm not worthy. Because I deserve better than someone who makes me feel like I'm never good enough." I stood up, grabbed my purse, and walked out. Didn't look back, just kept going until I got to Claire's place, my best friend since college. Noah tried to follow me out, yelling that I was overreacting, but I didn't stop. The tears came later that night at Claire's, spilling out all the hurt and shock. 5 years is a long time to give someone, and realizing it was over hit me hard. For the next few days, Noah blew up my phone. First, it was anger calling me dramatic, saying I'd regret this. Then, he switched to apologies, insisting he didn't mean it, just stressed about the wedding. By the end, he was back to condescending, telling me I was making a huge mistake, walking away from him, like I was the one throwing it all away, not him. I didn't respond, just let him ramble into the void. Claire kept me sane those first days, telling me I dodged a bullet. She was right, but it didn't make it hurt less. 5 years with Noah, and it ended with him tearing me down in our own home. That laugh, though, that was the start of something new. I didn't know it yet, but walking out that door was the best move I'd ever make. All right, so here we are. The aftermath of that brutal night when Noah told me I wasn't worthy and walked out of my life. I'm Ava, and after 5 years with him, 3 of those sharing an apartment that moment hit me like a freight train. I'd just left our place, headed straight to Claire's, still reeling from his words. That laugh I let out, it wasn't joy, it was shock, but it was also the first spark of something new. I didn't know it then, but this was where I'd start picking up the pieces and building a version of myself. I'd almost forgotten. Let's walk through how I went from heartbroken to finding my footing again, because this part's messy, but it's real. The first few hours at Claire's were rough. I sat on her couch, staring at nothing, until the tears finally came. 5 years is a long time to invest in someone, and having it end like that, with him saying I wasn't good enough, it hurt deep. Claire didn't try to fix it. Just let me cry, handed me tissues, made me tea. She said I didn't have to talk until I was ready. But when I did, it all poured out. The comments, the way he'd made me feel small, how I'd changed myself for him. She listened, then said, "Ava, You're better off without him. He's the one who's not worthy. It was simple, but it stuck with me. That night, I crashed at her place, didn't sleep much. Just kept replaying his words in my head, wondering where it went wrong. Noah didn't let up the next few days. My phone buzzed constantly. First, it was angry texts, calling me dramatic, saying I was blowing this out of proportion. Then he flipped to apologies, swearing he didn't mean it, just stressed about the wedding. By day 3, he was back to his old tricks, telling me I'd regret walking away, that I was throwing away something good. I didn't reply to any of it. Every message just made it clearer he cared more about winning than about me. Claire kept me grounded, told me to block him, but I wasn't ready yet. Needed to see how far he'd take it, I guess. Meanwhile, I had a wedding to undo. 3 months out, and everything was booked. Venue caterer, flowers, the works. Canceling it was a nightmare. Had to call every vendor, explain we weren't going through with it. Some were nice about it, others not so much. Pro tip: wedding insurance is worth every penny, folks. Trust me on that. Claire stepped up big time. She helped me contact people, return gifts we'd already gotten from early showers. My parents were amazing too. Mom was worried about small town gossip, said people would talk, but Dad just hugged me, told me I was strong enough to handle anything. Breaking the news to guests was the worst part. Sent out emails, made calls, kept it short and vague. Most were kind, sent sweet messages back, but a few dug for details I didn't want to give. 2 weeks after that night, I knew I had to get my stuff from the apartment. Picked a time I thought Noah would be at work, went with Claire for backup, started packing clothes, books, little things I'd brought into our life. Halfway through, he showed up. Must have left work early or something. He switched between begging me to stay and telling me I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Even said, good luck, finding someone else at your age, like 29, is over the hill. I almost laughed again. What got me was how he kept going on about appearances. Everyone's going to talk about this. My family's already told people. Not once did he say he loved me or would miss me. That's when it clicked. I was done. Found a small place across town, moved in a week later. It was the first time I'd lived completely alone, and honestly, it was freeing. No one to judge how I decorated or what I watched. Put up string lights, hung some art I'd always liked. Started cooking just for me. Tried recipes Noah never cared for. First month was tough, though. I'd wake up reaching for him out of habit or think of something funny to tell him. Then remember he was gone. Nights were the hardest when it got quiet and my mind wouldn't shut off. But slowly, I started finding myself again. Picked up hobbies I'd dropped because he called them childish, like painting little canvases for fun. Reconnected with friends I'd drifted from because he didn't vibe with them. They'd text, come over, we'd laugh over wine, catch up like no time had passed. About 6 weeks after the breakup, word got around Noah was spinning his own version of the story. Said I'd had some kind of mental breakdown, that's why I ended it. Classic move, rewriting history to save face. I thought about setting it straight, posting something online, but decided it wasn't worth it. The people who mattered knew the truth. What surprised me was how many reached out. Friends checking in, saying they'd noticed how he talked to me, how they'd been worried. One of his cousins even messaged me, said she was proud I walked away. That kind of support kept me going on days. I doubted myself, wondered if I'd overreacted, if I should have stayed and worked it out. But then I'd remember his face when he said I wasn't worthy, and it'd snap me back. Noah's texts slowed down but got weirder. Stuff like, just saw your favorite movie at the theater, or went to that restaurant we always talked about. No apologies, just these breadcrumbs like he wanted me to miss him. I didn't bite. 3 months out from that night, I was doing better than I expected. Apartment felt like homework was picking up turns out. I'm pretty good at my job when no one's telling me it's not enough. Even started dating again. Nothing serious, just coffee here and there to remind myself there are good guys out there. Still had moments where I missed us the good parts anyway. 5 years leaves a mark. Not all of it was bad. But every time I thought about going back, I'd hear his voice saying I wasn't worthy. And no, I'd made the right call. This was my rebirth. Figuring out who I was without him. Next up, we'll get into how life threw me a curveball I never saw coming. The kind that changes everything in the best way. So here we are about 3 months out from that night when Noah told me I wasn't worthy and flipped my life upside down. I'm Ava, and by now I was starting to find my groove again, living alone in my little apartment, painting on weekends, catching up with friends. Things weren't perfect, but they were mine. I was 29, figuring out who I was, without someone breathing down my neck, telling me I wasn't enough. That's when life decided to throw me something new, something good. This is where Liam comes in. And trust me, you're going to love this part, because it's where the story starts to turn around, in the best way. It all started with Claire, my best friend since college. She'd been my rock through the breakup, helping me pack up Noah's, keeping me sane when I wanted to fall apart. About 6 weeks after I moved into my new place, she invited me to her brother's birthday party. I wasn't really in the mood. Still healing, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. Said it'd be low-key, just a few people. Some food, maybe a drink or two. After a little begging and honestly a glass of wine to loosen me up, I said fine, I'd go. Best decision I didn't know I was making. That night, I walked into her brother's backyard, string lights everywhere, music playing soft in the background. I grabbed a soda, started chatting with folks I knew from way back. Then I met Liam. He was Claire's brother's best friend from college, in town for the weekend. We got talking in a group at first, just casual stuff about the food, the weather, nothing deep. But then somehow we ended up on the porch swing, just the two of us. I don't even know how it happened. 1 minute, we're laughing about some dumb party game. The next, we're spilling our guts about life. We talked about everything, favorite podcasts, biggest fears, what we wanted out of the world. He's got this easy way about him. No pressure, no awkward flirting, just real conversation. I told him about my painting hobby. He told me about his family, how close he is with them. It was the kind of connection I hadn't felt in forever, maybe ever. I wasn't looking for anything, wasn't ready to jump into a relationship, still picking up pieces from Noah. But Liam felt different. We swapped numbers that night. Next day, he texted asking if I'd grab coffee before he headed back home. He lives about 40 minutes away, in the next town over, not far, but enough to feel like a little distance. I said yes, and that coffee turned into lunch, then a walk in the park, then dinner. We spent the whole day together, and it was so easy. He asked questions, really listened when I answered, talked about his job, fixing up old houses with this quiet passion. Not once did he comment on my looks, my job, what I could be. He just seemed to like me for me. After that, we started dating, kind of long distance, if you can call 40 minutes that. He'd drive to my town some weekends. I'd head to his others. Early days were full of little hiccups that turned into laughs, like our third date, when his Roomba got stuck under the couch and started screeching right as we were getting serious. Or when I tried cooking him dinner and set off his smoke detector 3 times. We'd just crack up, figure it out together. About 3 months into dating, Noah popped back up. I ran into him and Hazel, his new girlfriend, at Target of all places. I had been dreading that moment. Figured I'd feel jealous or small. But when I saw them, I felt nothing. No anger, no hurt, just calm. Like that chapter was closed. We said quick hellos. Hazel was polite but stiff. Noah looked surprised. I wasn't a mess, and it was over in 30 seconds. But it felt huge, like I'd won something inside. And later that week, he texted first time in months. Said it was good to see me. I looked, wanted to catch up as friends. I showed Liam, who just raised an eyebrow, asked what I wanted to do. No jealousy, no demands, just support. I didn't reply to Noah, some doors need to stay shut. Things with Liam kept growing steady, not rushed. After 6 months, about 5 years and 9 months since I first met Noah, he suggested I move in with him. I was at his place most weekends anyway, sleeping on his lumpy couch or squeezing into his bed. His house is older, full of character. He'd been fixing it up himself. Leaving my apartment was scary. That little space had been my safe haven after the breakup, but it felt right. We moved my stuff and figured out where it'd all fit in a house already full of his things. Took some adjusting. I'm always cold. He's always hot. He leaves shoes everywhere. I forget to close cabinets, but it worked. We balanced each other out. Then came the proposal. 6 months after moving in. So about a year since we met. Liam took me to a lake. Not the one Noah picked. Totally different spot. We were having a picnic. Just us, some sandwiches and lemonade. He didn't make a big thing of it. Just said, Ava, I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me? Pulled out this vintage sapphire ring, his grandmother's. I cried, laughed, said yes, all at once. It was perfect because it was us, no flash, just real. That same week, I heard through Claire that Hazel had dumped Noah, moved on with some other guy, married him quick. Noah was spiraling, started texting me again, begging to talk. I blocked him this time. Liam was my focus, now my future. This part of the story, it's where I found what I didn't know I needed. Liam showed me love doesn't have to hurt, doesn't have to judge. Noah thought he'd moved on to something better, but Hazel leaving him, that was just the start of his fall. Next up, we'll hit the wedding and what happened when Noah tried one last time to pull me back. Stick around, it gets good. All right, we're getting close to the finish line now, and this part is all about triumph and tying up loose ends. I'm Ava, and by this point I'd been with Noah for 5 years, watched him call me unworthy, and walk away. Fast forward to about 6 years and 3 months since we first met, and I'm standing at a new crossroads. I'd found Liam, moved in with him, said yes to his proposal. Noah was out there somewhere, reeling from Hazel, dumping him. But I wasn't thinking about that. I was building something real. This is where it all comes together. The wedding, the life after, and one last wild run-in with Noah that sealed the deal. Let's dive in. First up, the wedding. Liam and I didn't want anything big, just a small ceremony with the people who mattered most. It was about 6 years and 3 months after I met Noah, give or take. We picked a little outdoor spot backyard of a friend's place, simple but beautiful. That morning it rained, which they say is good luck. But it had me stressing about mud on my dress. Ceremony went off anyway. Not perfect, but perfect for us. My veil got caught on a rose bush during photos. Liam's nephew yelled he had to pee right in the middle of our vows. We laughed through it all, surrounded by love, not judgment. Claire was my maid of honor. kept everything running smooth. Liam looked at me like I was the only person there, said his vows with this quiet strength that made my heart full. We were married just like that, no drama, no doubts, just us. Noah didn't let the day pass quietly, though. My phone was with Claire during the wedding, and later, she told me he called 17 times. 17. Left messages, 2 begging me to talk, saying he'd made a mistake. Imagine that your ex calling you on your wedding day, thinking you'd pick up. Claire silenced it, laughed with me about it after. We didn't let it ruin anything. Honeymoon was next, a little beach town 4 hours away. Rented an Airbnb right by the ocean. Spent days walking the shore, eating too much shrimp, just soaking in being together. Noah kept texting. The whole time started with, I need to talk to you. Move to please. Don't ignore me. Ended with, I made a huge mistake letting you go. I showed Liam, who didn't get mad, just looked worried for me. Asked if I wanted him to handle it. I nodded. Figured it was time. Opportunity came fast. We were unpacking from the honeymoon, still glowing from the trip, when Noah called again. Liam picked up before I could think. Said hello. Ava's phone, in this cheerful voice. Long pause on the other end. Then Noah asked if I was there. Liam kept it cool. Said she's busy unpacking from our honeymoon. This is her husband, Liam. Anything I can help you with. Silence, so loud, you could hear it. Noah stumbled out some weak congrats. Liam thanked him, said we appreciated it. But Ava's moved on and would rather not keep in touch. No yelling, no fight, just calm and clear. Hung up, and I just stared at him. Amazed. That's what real partnership looks like. No games, just boundaries. Things settled after that until about 15 months later, around 7 years and 6 months since I met Noah. Liam and I had bought a house, a fixer-upper, with a big backyard. Took months to find, moved in, started making it ours. Decided to throw a housewarming party, casual Saturday afternoon thing. Claire brought her famous buffalo chicken dip. Liam's brothers set up patio furniture, about 20 people total. I was in the kitchen grabbing ice when Claire walked in, face all weird. Said Noah was outside. Yeah, Noah uninvited with a bottle of wine, looking rough. She'd caught him in the driveway, tried to figure out what to do. I took a breath. Realized I wasn't even nervous, just annoyed. Told her to let him in, easier than making a scene. We greeted him together, Liam and me. He handed me the wine. Same cheap kind he used to mock me for liking. Started off polite, complimented the house, asked about the neighborhood. Then it got weird. Liam's cousin said how happy we looked, how we fit together. Noah mumbled something like she wouldn't be here without me. I asked him to repeat it, and he lost it. Went off saying he'd prepared me for Liam. His criticism made me better. I should thank him for our breakup. I stood there stunned. Liam stepped in calm, as ever. Said, my growth wasn't from being torn down. We'd rather celebrate our home today. Maybe this isn't the time. Noah didn't stop, asked if I ever thought about what could have been if he hadn't let me go. I told him I don't because I'm too grateful for what is. Claire jumped in, said, Hazel's married now, expecting a baby with her new guy. Noah's face crumpled. He left, quick muttering about another commitment. Liam walked him out, came back shaking his head. Next day he texted, sorry, didn't reply. That was it. Closure done. So, here we are. The end of this wild ride. I'm Ava, and it's been about 7 years and 6 months since I first met Noah, the guy who said I wasn't worthy of being his wife after 5 years together. That night, he walked out. I thought my world was over. Now I'm 30, married to Liam, living in our fixer-upper house, with a backyard we're still figuring out. Noah's out there somewhere after showing up uninvited to our housewarming party, begging for a second chance, only to leave empty-handed. His new girlfriend, Hazel, moved on, married someone else. And I'm here happier than I ever thought possible. Let's take a minute to look back and wrap this up because it's been a journey and there's something here for all of us. Looking at it now, that moment when Noah tore me down, it wasn't the end, it was the start. I went from crying on Claire's couch to building a life with Liam, a man who sees me for me, not some checklist I'll never meet. Our house isn't perfect. The dishwasher flooded, the kitchen, our first week, the sink gurgles at night, but we laugh through it together. I'm not the same woman who stood there stunned, letting out that shaky laugh. I'm stronger, where I broke softer, where it counts. Noah thought he'd find better, but he lost it all. Hazel a job that didn't last even the pride he clung to so tight. Me? I found what matters: a home. A partner who lifts me up, not tears me down. Here's the big takeaway. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you, the moment you think you can't survive, it's the door to the best version of yourself. It's not instant. It's not easy, but it's real. Noah saying I wasn't worthy hurt like hell, but it pushed me to see I am. Not because someone else says so, because I know it. Liam showed me love doesn't judge Claire, reminded me I'm enough, and I figured out the rest. If you're watching this and you've been told you're not enough by someone you loved, I see you. You can come back from it stronger than before. That's what this story is about, rising when you've been knocked down. Let me hear from you. Ever had someone break your heart, tell you you're less than you are? How'd you get through it? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Your stories keep this channel going. They're why I share mine. If this hit home, hit that like button. Let me know you're with me. New here? Subscribe, tap the bell. We've got more real life tales coming your way. Thanks for sticking through. All 40 minutes of this one, it's been a ride. I'll leave you with this from Not Worthy in Noah's Eyes to building a life I love with Liam. Sometimes the worst endings lead to the best beginnings. And that's where I am now, exactly where I'm meant to be.